Hello everyone, Awesome Andrew here of Awesome Albums. By now, I'm sure you're familiar with these videos, but for those who aren't, this is a series of videos I like to call the Farewell Tour. Today, we're going to take a look at some of those people that we lost last year. 2016 and 2017 were both some pretty nasty years as far as losing musicians, and today I want to mention the ones who meant something to me that we lost as my way of saying thank you for everything you've done over the years. I have three categories I want to cover: actors and directors, of course musicians, and miscellaneous. And I'm going to go ahead and start with miscellaneous since that's my shortest list, so here we go. Emma Morano. This was someone who jumped out at me simply for this one reason. She was the last survivor of people born in the 1800s. I didn't even realize that there were still any of them around, but she had proven that up until recently, there was one left. Hugh Hefner, American publisher and founder of Playboy and editor and chief of the magazine, which he founded in 1953. An infamous name and not at all saying thank you, but a big name nonetheless, Charles Manson. In the late 1960s, he formed what became known as the Manson family, a commune in California. Manson's followers committed a series of 9 murders at 4 locations in July and August 1969, all of which were carried out at his instruction by members of his group. Manson was also convicted of first-degree murder of 2 other people. Geez, did this guy contribute to anything good at all? Well, he was a songwriter, and probably his most notable song was a hidden track on Guns N' Roses' album, The Spaghetti Incident, where there is a hidden track called Look at Your Game Girl, written by Manson. This, of course, caused a lot of controversy. Another music-related thing that he did was that he told his followers that several songs on the Beatles' White Album, most notably Helter Skelter, were part of a coded prophecy of an apocalyptic war in which racist and non-racist whites would be maneuvered into virtually exterminating each other over the treatment of blacks. Upon the war's conclusion, after black militants would kill off the few whites they would have known to have survived, Manson and his companions would then rise up from this underground city that they created. As the only remaining whites left, they would rule over the blacks, who, as the vision went, would be incapable of running America. Manson employed Helter Skelter as the term for his sequence of events. What? This is seriously messed up in so many ways. I mean, the cult he led, the Helter Skelter prophecy, the racism, especially the racism, this is just messed up. Well, I guess we don't have to worry about it anymore. I mean, he's gone now. So, let's get back to people we actually like. Mary Tyler Moore, Emmy-winning actress who starred in shows like The Dick Van Dyke Show in the 60s, and of course the Mary Tyler Moore Show in the 70s. She has also been an activist for diabetics everywhere. See, isn't she more loved than... moving on. Bill Paxton, actor whose memorable roles include an astronaut in Apollo 13 and a treasure hunter in Titanic. He also has memorable credits in some of the most important movies, including The Terminator and Aliens. I also know him from Twister. Jonathan Demme, Oscar-winning filmmaker, best known for his wide acclaim with The Silence of the Lambs and Philadelphia. Roger Moore, an English actor best known for playing Ian Fleming's secret agent James Bond in 7 films from 1973 to 1985. Peter Sallis, an actor known for his work on British television. He was the voice of Wallace from Academy Award-honored Wallace and Gromit and played Norman Clegg Clegg in Last of the Summer Wine, from its 1973 pilot until its final episode in 2010, making him the only actor to appear in all 295 episodes. William West Anderson, also known as Adam West, best known for his role as Batman in the 1960s TV series, he also performed work in The Fairly OddParents, The Simpsons, and Family Guy, playing as fictional versions of himself in all 3. John Avildsen, American film director. He won the Academy Award for Best Director in 1977 for Rocky. He also directed the first 3 Karate Kid movies. George Romero, American-Canadian film director best known for his series of gruesome and satirical horror films about an imagined zombie apocalypse beginning with Night of the Living Dead in 1968. He is often noted as an influential pioneer of the horror genre and has been called an icon and the father of the zombie film. Basically anything you know about zombies, that was probably because of George Romero. June Foray, cartoon voice actress who gave us many smiles over the years for the roles of Rocky J. Squirrel from Rocky and Bullwinkle, Cindy Lou Who from Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Jokey Smurf from the Smurfs, Grammy Gummy from the Disney Adventures of the Gummy Bear series. She also appeared in Cinderella and Peter Pan. And what meant the most to me personally was probably her role as Granny from the Looney Tunes. Cartoonist Chuck Jones was quoted saying, "June Foray is not the female Mel Blanc was a male June Foray," end quote. In case you're wondering who Mel Blanc was, he pretty much voiced every male Looney Tunes character except Elmer Fudd, although after the death of Arthur Bryan, he took over that voice too, but I'm digressing, aren't I? Jerry Lewis, not to be mistaken with Jerry Lee Lewis. He was known for his slapstick comedy in film, television, stage, and radio, and was nicknamed the King of Comedy. Tobe Hooper, horror movie pioneer. We lost a few of those this year, didn't we? He was known for giving us the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He also directed Poltergeist from his script by Steven Spielberg in the well-regarded 1979 miniseries Salem's Lot from Stephen King's novel. David Cassidy, American actor, singer, songwriter, and guitarist. He was known for his role as Keith Partridge in the 1970s musical sitcom The Partridge Family, which led to him becoming one of the popular culture teen idols and pop singers of the 1970s. He later had a career in both acting and music. Jim Nabors, American actor, singer, and comedian. I know him best as Gomer Pyle from The Andy Griffith Show. He was also given his own spin-off show, Gomer Pyle USMC, in which Gomer joins the Marine Corps. Now, moving on to the musicians, brace yourselves, there are a lot of them, unfortunately. Tommy Allsup, guitarist and member of Buddy Holly's band. He was best known for losing a coin toss that kept him off the plane that killed Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper. Allsup lost and took the bus to the next stop on the tour, and the plane went down in the Iowa countryside. Claude Hudson Butch Trucks, American drummer for the Allman Brothers Band. He joined the group in 1969. Though the band broke up and reformed various times, Trucks remained a constant in their 45-year career and has been on every album that the band made. Jeff Nichols, British musician and keyboardist and longtime member of Black Sabbath until 2004. Originally brought as a second guitarist when Sabbath doubted when they would be able to continue under that name. He switched to bass when Geezer Butler left briefly, and then became the band's keyboardist upon Butler's return and the decision to keep the Sabbath name. He was on every Sabbath album from 1980's Heaven and Hell to 1995's Forbidden, and then of course still continued to play until 2004, like I said. Nichols also played keyboards with former Sabbath singer Tony Martin and his band Tony Martin's Headless Cross. John Wetton, English singer, bassist, and songwriter. He rose to fame with Mogul Thrash, Family, King Crimson, Roxy Music, Uriah Heep, and Wishbone Ash. He later became the frontman and co-principal songwriter of the supergroup Asia. Wetton had a long career as an in-demand session bass player, collaborating with many members of Yes, Roxy Music, Brian Ferry of Roxy Music, and Genesis, Steve Hackett. James Cotton, American blues harmonica player, singer, and songwriter who performed with many of the great blues artists of his time, beginning with Howlin' Wolf's band in the early 1950s. He was also recruited by Muddy Waters to join his band in 1965. Chuck Berry, American singer and musician. Berry refined and developed rhythm and blues into the major elements that made rock and roll distinctive, like writing lyrics that focused on teen life and consumerism, and developed a style that included guitar solos and showmanship. Berry was a major influence on subsequent rock music. Some of his many hits are Maybelline, Roll Over Beethoven, Rock and Roll Music, and Johnny B. Good. He was also inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on its opening year in 1986 and was cited for having laid the groundwork for not only a rock and roll sound, but a rock and roll stance, end quote. He was 90 years old when he passed. Sib Hashian, American drummer for Boston on the group's first two albums and drummed a few tracks on their third album, Third Stage. He collapsed in the middle of a set while performing on a cruise ship. Paul O'Neill, founder of the progressive metal band Trans-Siberian Orchestra. The band is best known for its hard rock takes on Christmas staples like Carol of the Bells. Alan Holdsworth, British guitarist and composer. He was cited as an influence of rock, metal, and jazz guitarists including Eddie Van Halen, Joe Satriani, Alex Lifeson, and Yngwie Malmsteen, and Tom Morello, to name a few of many. John Warren Giles Jr., or Jay Giles for short, guitarist and founder of the Jay Giles Band. The band's first big hit, Love Stinks, was the title track on their 1980 album, and Centerfold, released in 1981, was eventually charted at number 1 on the US Billboard Hot 100 in '82, staying there for 6 weeks, and was featured on MTV. Chris Cornell, lead vocalist of Soundgarden, one of the creators of the grunge genre, and Audioslave, a mix of 70s hard rock and the 90s alternative rock. He suffered from depression and substance abuse earlier in his life and was found dead the morning of May 18th after performing a Soundgarden concert hours earlier. His death was unfortunately ruled a suicide. Gregg Allman, American musician, singer, songwriter, and co-founder of the Allman Brothers Band. He wrote many of the band's biggest songs, including Whippin' Post, Melissa, and Midnight Rider. He also had a successful solo career. Chester Bennington, American singer, songwriter, and actor. He served as the singer for Dead by Sunrise, Stone Temple Pilots, and most notably, Linkin Park. Linkin Park has sold over 65 million records worldwide. He was found having committed suicide by hanging. Glen Campbell, American singer, guitarist, songwriter, television host, and actor. During his 50 years in the music business, he released more than 70 albums, selling over 45 million records worldwide, accumulated 12 gold albums, 4 platinum, and 1 double platinum album. Very impressive. Walter Becker, American musician, songwriter, and record producer. He was best known as the co-founder, guitarist, bassist, and co-songwriter of Steely Dan. Tom Petty, American singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, record producer, and actor. Petty served as the lead singer of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, which was formed in 1976. He was also a member and co-founder of Mudcrutch, as well as the 1980s supergroup The Traveling Wilburys. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002. George Young, Scottish-Australian musician, songwriter, and record producer. He was a founding member of the Easy Beats, a 2005 Rock Hall inductee, and Flash in the Pan, and was one half of the songwriting and production duo of Vanda and Young. The duo were also producers for the early work of AC/DC, formed by his younger brothers Malcolm and Angus Young. I will unfortunately have to come back to AC/DC in a minute. Scott Putski, known for his stage name Daisy Berkowitz, lead guitarist and co-founder of the industrial metal band Marilyn Manson. His stage name was created by combining Daisy Duke from Dukes of Hazzard with serial killer David Berkowitz. Antoine Dominic Fats Domino, American pianist and singer-songwriter. He was one of the pioneers of rock and roll music. Domino sold more than 65 million records. Between 1955 and 1960, he had 11 top 10 hits. His humility and shyness may be one of the reasons his contribution to the genre has been overlooked. Malcolm Young, Scottish-Australian musician and songwriter, co-founder, rhythm guitarist, and backing vocalist of AC/DC. He had been on every album except 2014's Rock or Bust. He had retired from the band due to his health concerns, including lung cancer, an unspecified heart problem resulting in a pacemaker, and dementia. Warrell Dane, American musician and the lead singer for the metal bands Sanctuary and Nevermore. Though known for his high-pitched vocals with Serpent's Night in the first 2 Sanctuary albums, later in his career he became known for his distinctively deep, dramatic voice. Ooh, what a list this past year, unfortunately. And I know there are big names that I didn't even mention. Naturally, it's impossible to name everyone, and I don't want their accomplishments to be pushed aside either. So many people we lost last year contributed in so many ways to make us laugh, to make us cry, and to give us so much more than just simply entertainment. This is Awesome Andrew saying thank you for the movies that you've made. Thank you for the music that you've made, and thank you for all the joy that you have given us over the years. Thank you, and farewell. Unless you're Charles Manson.